mi gente, and welcome to Precisely Nowhere. It's April, it is spring, and we are fully embracing this next season of life. Today, we're going to transport ourselves to Mexico. I am going to share some highlights from my recent trip. A lot of people fear the unknown, and what I've learned from traveling and seeing the world is that there are so many beautiful places. Not just the big cities, but the small towns where locals know one another and can lean on each other and have a strong sense of community. And going to Mexico reminds me of how strong my people are and the importance of community. I loved visiting and I look forward to going back. It was a bit of a roller coaster because we were there when Elemental was killed and there was a lot of cartel violence that broke out. Luckily, we were safe. We did get stuck in Mexico for a few extra days because of it. But all in all, very grateful that family and friends are safe and excited to share more about my trip. We're starting in Guadalajara. This was the first time that I had explored Guadalajara, and I cannot wait to go back because there's so much to see. It's so beautiful, and it is way too large of a city to, in my opinion, see everything in 24 hours. We were able to walk around, and I'm so grateful for my boyfriend's family who essentially were our tour guides for the day and took us to some spots that I had wanted to check out because I am someone who does their research before they go somewhere. And I'll usually have a list of things and places, always open minded to stumbling upon things serendipitously, but I like to be intentional. And I know if I'm going somewhere new, I want to make the most of that experience. So that's why I usually do my homework before. But the architecture was on another level, so beautiful. We saw the Teatro Degollado from the outside, which it is believed that Guadalajara was founded there in 1542. So it is a very old theater that they still use for ballets and operas and for the arts. We also went to the Museo Cabañas, and that was really cool. We were able to go inside, and they actually had an exhibition, and we got to see these really cool murals. That is a beautiful 18th century complex. Originally was designed to care for the needy and was a home for orphans, and now focuses on art and culture. There are these beautiful murals, and these frescoes are dark and tell the story of like colonization of Mexico, but in this beautiful way, and they are moving. There was also so much comida, which is food. We went to an indoor market. Guadalajara has the largest indoor market in Latin America, and we had some bomb food. In general, there's just so much good food. We ate from tacos to fresh fruit, lots of quesadillas, quesadillas with the frijoles, carne asada, birria, fresh fish, nopales. Some of these foods I ate throughout my trip, not just in Guadalajara. I could go on for days. Agua frescas. There was a lot of street art. We got to see some of it as we were driving through the city. I love the creative use of art and the fact that people paint on the outside of their local businesses. It's such a small concept, but takes the whole ambiance to another level. And they are using this wall as a canvas and giving it personality and supporting the art. So I'm here for it. It is a very big city, so I know I only saw a fraction of art and look forward to seeing more next time we're there. And last but not least, family. We got to see family while we were in Guadalajara, and we only had a few hours, but we made the most of our time. And the night while we were in Guadalajara, we actually took a little drive to this small town, Talquepaque, and we ate dinner in this town. The place we ate at was so lively from its decor to the live music. There were these beautiful trees that they built around to build this restaurant. Instead of tearing them down, they built around the trees. And I love that. The appreciation and respect to nature does not go unnoticed. And it was so calming to be surrounded by a lot of beauty in different ways. And the creativity and just the kindness of the people. After dinner, we strolled around the streets and went to the centro, and there was live music. I guess they do that every weekend, and I love that they do that because it really brings people together and gives the community a reason to step away from their TV and phones and enjoy each other's company. And I love live music. There was a Dia de San Valentin fiesta, which is Valentine's Day. And there were lots of decorations, also lots of beautiful sculptures made of like bronze and mosaics, window displays, murals on buildings. I'm so excited to visit this town again. I was bummed that we were only able to spend a night there, but we can only do so much on a family trip. And I'm grateful that we stopped there because it's been on my list to visit. The next stop on our adventure was Cuauhtemoc. This is a pueblo in Colima, Jalisco, where my boyfriend's parents have a house. I love this pueblo, and on this recent trip, spent less time exploring it, but thankfully got to indulge in the great food. I had some bomb churros, and we spent a lot of time at my boyfriend's abuelo's house, which is in that little town, and such a special place. There are lots of fruit trees and some fur babies, which was a dose of pet therapy that I very much needed. Lots of family gatherings, cookouts. We camped out there when we were stuck in Mexico, and just very chill vibes. There is a lot of time spent outside there, and I can appreciate just being in nature and being removed from like social media and all of the little luxuries that we get so used to in America, where we have really good service for the most part, probably, and Wi Fi. And I read a lot, and it was just so peaceful in the best way. And I love that I'm making my own memories there because my boyfriend's been going there since he was a baby, and it is such a special place. The next town that we visited is Comola, and this town is not far from Cuauhtemoc. It is a pueblo mágico. Pueblo mágicos are towns recognized by the Mexican government for their magical qualities, whether it be their beauty, rich history, or legends. They are magical towns, and Comala is one of them. The last time we went there was 2 years ago. We got a one of a kind piece of art after stumbling upon a boutique hotel that was family owned, and we got a tour, and we met the owners, and it heard their story of how they created this hotel that's been passed down from generation, and viewed some art and left with a piece. We tried to go back this year, but they were closed. I have a suspicion that they were on a lunch or siesta because we went around that time. And having lived in Spain, I know that siestas and lunch breaks are serious things, okay? Everywhere except America, it feels like, and I'm here for it. So excited to go back next time we are near the area and hopefully catch up with the owners. There was a lot of live music that you could hear from the Centro, which is the city center, and people that were selling conchas, these huge conchas that were like the size of my head, and locally made clothes, art, ponche, all of these things. If you know, you know. And it is a pueblo mágico for a reason. And I love this little town. I want to spend more time in it. This trip, I got a little ceramic frog that is bright and beautiful and has all of these colors. And it is in our studio on the gallery wall. And I get to look at it every day. And it brings me good memories. The last stop on our trip is Manzanillo. We rented a house for a couple days. It was the closest thing I'll get to my own below deck experience. And it was my boyfriend, myself, my dad, my boyfriend's parents, two of his siblings, and one of our nieces. And we had our own bedroom. Everyone had their own bathroom. All the rooms had balconies. Our room overlooked the like backyard area, which is like the pool, and then you could see the ocean. It came with a live-in chef slash housekeeper, and she was amazing. There was one person, and then there was a few other people helping. They went to the grocery store, they cooked breakfast, lunch, and prepared dinner. I have never had an experience like this, and I loved it. It was so relaxing. They also did our laundry, and my boyfriend was shocked because he had gathered his own clothes to do laundry, and then they were missing, and it's because they were in the washer already. They were just so amazing. We were there for 2.5 days, and it was bliss and so relaxing. I think I already said that, but it truly was a breath of fresh air that I needed. We ate well, we swam in the pool. There was a whole situation where my boyfriend's mom and his sister, their hair turned blue and part of my skin turned blue. And it was like a freak accident kind of thing. We think there was something with the pool noodles because they were colored at one point and then they were discolored. And it was after they were in the pool. So apparently, this has never happened before to anyone who's ever stayed there. So I'm not taking that situation as like I won't ever stay there again because it was such a beautiful house and the housekeeper was so nice, and we ended up whale watching. We are watching TV and the housekeeper says, and I'm not saying her name for her privacy. So she has a name, I know her name, but we are mindful of people's privacy here. So she lets us know that there's whales. And I think she saw them through the kitchen window because you can see like through to the outside from it. And so we ran outside and we could see them from afar, and they were actually swimming closer towards us. So it was a whole experience, and there are so many videos, and we also appreciated it with our own eyes and not just we did not just watch through a phone the whole time. But it was really moving and serendipitous because a week before I went to Mexico, I wrote a wellness newsletter for my 9 to 5 job, we have a wellness newsletter that we put out quarterly, and I volunteered to write this one. And while I was doing research for it, I came across whale watching as a wellness activity and learned how this can be therapeutic. And so it felt surreal to end up seeing whales a week later and getting to experience that. And I can say that it is therapeutic. I was moved to tears, and I'm someone who does not cry easily. And I think it was the fact that these whales were in their natural habitat, unbothered. There were a few babies, and they looked so free. And I loved that for them. We could see water come out of the blowhole, and we saw their tails, and it was really cool. And I am so happy that we got to experience that. And I learned that they usually give birth in the like near the waters where we were and stay there for a few months, and then they move out further deeper into the ocean. But the beauty of nature, and we just need to be more mindful of other living beings on this planet. And I love whales. Whales are my boyfriend's favorite animal, so he was overjoyed seeing them, and it was so cool to get to experience that together. We celebrated my boyfriend's abuelo's birthday, and we were outside in nature. I saw so many trees, and it was therapy. I need more of this on a daily basis, is also what I realized. Mexico was a beautiful trip, and I was reminded that it's important for us to do things that fill our cup up. And that is something that I have been thinking about a lot now that I've been back for about a month. And I have been trying to find ways to keep filling my cup up, because when I fill my cup up, I bring my best self to each day. And I was inspired to keep tapping into my creativity, being surrounded by so much beauty and creativity in Mexico, and to keep learning and reading. I finished Homegoing. This is a book I mentioned on the last episode, and I have another book on my list that was written by a good friend of mine. I'm excited to read it, and we'll be sharing more about this book in a future episode. But to give you a teaser, because it is out and you can buy it yourself to read it along with me if you'd like, it is called There Are No Stars Here. And this is a synopsis of the book. I will include a link to where you can purchase it. And I hope you enjoy it if you are a reader. The earth has turned against us. The solution is Worthington's domes, sealed cities designed to preserve life and give the planet time to heal. Inside Shamut, safety is promised to those willing to abandon the past and forget the stars. Solanas Taylor entered Shamut after a devastating storm tore her world apart, leaving behind the man she loved and the life she knew. Years later, with a daughter to protect and a position of influence within reach, Solanas has convinced herself the trade was worth it. Safety might be enough. But when a voice from her past resurfaces, the cracks in her carefully built life begin to spread. As control slips and secrets rise to the surface, Solanas must confront what she gave up, what she still has to lose, and what it will cost to protect her daughter and their future. Very eerie, right? A little bit of suspense, dystopian novel. all the things I love. I'm stoked to read this book, and it is written by J.S. Thompson. Check out the link in the episode description so you can purchase the book and read it along with me. As we go into spring, I am doing a lot of spring cleaning, going through clothes, going through papers, and being intentional about things that I'm actually going to use, wear, what I need, and what I can let go of, and give a second life by giving it to someone who is actually going to use it or wear it. So that is what's happening this season. I feel like new seasons can be a great opportunity for us to pause, practice being present, and check in with ourselves. This is something that we should do more regularly than the start of the new season, but using this new season as an excuse to do that is where we are at because we are taking baby steps. I want to invite you to join me this season to do a little bit of spring cleaning and take time to fill your own cup up. Lately, I've been filling my own cup up with home decorating. I hung a gallery wall and some art in our studio, and I put frames up throughout the apartment that I've been meaning to hang for months that have just been sitting in a closet, and it has brought our home to life in a new way, and I love how art can do that, and I can geek out for days about home decor, but wanted to share some of the ways that I fill my cup up to inspire you that there are so many ways that we can do that. One of the reminders I got from this recent trip to Mexico is how Americans have a tendency to live in excess. And I pride myself as a minimalist, but I know I can accumulate shit too. And in this spirit, I am taking this next season to do some housekeeping, not just surface level housekeeping, but really taking the time to reflect on what I need to bring my best self every day. And what I've realized in doing some reflection is that I need organization. I need to know where things are and be able to find them easily. An organized home is an organized mind in my personal experience. And I don't know if it's the Virgo or the project manager in me, but this has got me excited for spring. And it has me feeling like I'm growing because I'm taking my lived experiences and I am learning from them. And I am thinking about someone other than myself and trying to pay it forward and help others because as much as I want to hold on to some clothes that I may never wear again, there are a lot of people out there that could use them. So I plan on going through my clothes and giving them to my grandma, who is going to take them to Mexico and give them a second life. Here we are. Spring has sprung. I've decided to take this season to declutter and go through my clothes, piles of papers, and those random things that you stick in a box and forget about. My goal is to use this month of April to purge things that no longer serve me and use the rest of spring to organize. I'm going to organize the closet in our studio, and I look forward to having a system for how we keep track of documents. It may sound so nerdy that I'm talking about this, but these are the types of things my Virgo project manager self gets excited about. And not gonna lie, it was daunting to even think about having to go through papers and go through clothes and decide what I want to keep, what I want to throw away. And I know that we can only avoid it for so long. And in the greater good, some clothes are going to go to people that are actually going to wear them. And having a more organized space is going to help me have a more organized, clear mind. And it's the little things in life as an adult that get me going sometimes. And it's definitely the Virgo in me. So, fellow Virgos, I'm sure you can relate on a level. And to anyone else that fancies themselves a spring cleaning sesh, I welcome you to join me on this journey. I am talking about it on the pod because it helps me stay accountable. And I am trying really hard to become someone who practices what they preach and is trying to grow. And I know that that growth can be hard some days. There are days when I don't want to organize anything and I'm just like, all right, I'm going to put this here and it's going to live there. And I've been doing that for a minute now. And I've realized that that's no longer serving me. So I can either continue to have a hard time finding certain things that probably shouldn't be that hard to find, or I can stop, reflect, and make a change. And I am choosing to make that change. At first, I felt a little overwhelmed by the idea of reorganizing, but I decided to approach it with a different perspective and channeled my inner Marie Kondo and turned it to optimism. And that is the wave that I'm riding as I embark on this journey. I wanted to share that here because I am trying to hold myself accountable. It's so easy to talk about things and not actually do them. And I know the power of doing them and the power of an accountability partner. So thank you for being my accountability partner. It means the world. And I say that in all sincerity. I'm being 100 here. And I am channeling my inner project manager for how to approach it so that it doesn't feel overwhelming because a lot of us have so many superpowers that we use in our 9 to 5 or in our personal lives. And sometimes those superpowers don't get exchanged and the lessons that we learn in certain aspects we don't carry over. And that is something that I am trying to unlearn as well. And I am using this as an opportunity to do that. So let's take April to purge with what we don't need, things that are no longer serving us. And then we will step into May feeling a little lighter and give ourselves the rest of the season to get organized, accept the change, and take baby steps towards the next season of life. It's already April. Winter has already come and gone, and we are in a new season. If you are in the Southern Hemisphere, then you are in fall, and I love fall. I have an episode that I will put in the episode description to get you in those fall vibes. I welcome you to also take this season to do a self check in, purge with some things that are no longer serving you, and that includes people. I am not trying to tell everyone to go ostracize everyone in their life, but where we spend our energy is so important, and it is one of the easier things to lose sight of if you're not staying present and if you're not in tune with yourself. So we are continuing to take it slow like we've been doing as we ease into the year and looking forward to spring, some warmer weather, and grateful to be alive. And there's something about a good cleanse that feels makes you feel lighter. And that is what I'm also holding on to as I go into this season. And I look forward to sharing updates and learnings as I go on this journey. Welcome you to join me so we can grow together and keep thriving and living our best lives. Until next episode, stay safe. Thank you so much for listening, and I love you all.
Music done by Marco. You can find him at midnight, MIDNITE_mind80 on Instagram.